Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends, get your game goods each and every Monday. My name's Dylan Blight. Joining me on the couch, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here, but I feel like I've been in some sort of loop. You know, some sort of podcast loop.
Okay.
I feel like I've had this happen before.
And you died?
Possibly.
Okay. Also, here, Kieran Martin.
Shot down my ideas for this opening.
This is the shittiest beach I've ever woke up on. Like, honestly, yeah, figurative bottles filled with questions, answers. And they'll all be answered on this week's Arcade Couch. What do we got on the show this week, Dylan?
Wow, what a spin. Today on the show, Deathloop, Life is Strange True Colors, plus we're talking about Battlefield delayed video game shows, and Apple versus Epic, the finale. Yeah. Oh, I think it's the finale.
Ding,
anyway.
ding.
Ding, ding. It's all that later. Let's jump into first. Couple reviews that went up this week. Let's go first. TOEM. I'm not actually sure. I don't actually know how you pronounce it.
Is it TOEM?
TOEM? I think maybe. I know they've said it in the Nintendo Direct before. And
TOEM makes sense because it's like poem with a T.
All right, let's go TOEM. TOEM. So this is a...
Wait, so you played this game, right?
I have played it.
They never say the name of the game in the game.
No. There's no voice acting. So they never say the name of the game in the game. It's a fucking mouth word jumbo you just...
Maybe in credits of the games, they should put the pronunciation.
Possibly. I mean, I could Google
pronunciation. The fact you fucked up the word pronunciation you fucked up is amazing. It is just...
it's for the joke.
TOEM, a photo adventure. So, Cutie Certified Photography Adventure is my subheader for this one. So, this is... I've talked about this before because I did a preview because I played the demo back at some point. I can't remember what event that was from, but there was a demo. You basically play as a little character who I think is a sheep. I believe is like a sort of sheep-like character. Who started,
a sheep?
Yeah, like everyone's like sort of
with
animals.
A P?
Yeah, with a P. Everyone's like sort of animals in this, or there's ghosts, and there's like all sorts of cartoony type characters. It's a black and white world, so it's got this sort of distinct art style. But the setup for the game is your mum at the start of the game is like, hey, here's a camera, go find and photograph the event called TOEM, which is like a thing that you're just sort of given very like that's a thing, you'll have to figure out what that means. So that's sort of your end goal for the game. To get there, you have to sort of go for, I think it's 5. Yeah, I think it's 5 different areas. And in each of the areas, you sort of wander around and you talk to people and they give you or explain they want something or a picture of something or an item or something like that. And they're all like sort of mini puzzles. And what you got to do is you solve them and help them. And then each one of those people gives you a stamp. You need a certain number of stamps to unlock the bus trip to the next location. So you don't need to 100% an area and do all the challenges. You just need to solve enough to get enough stamps to get to the next area. And that's the core premise of the game. You can probably rush through it in a couple of hours. It took me like, I think 4 to 5-ish hours probably to 100% it. Yeah, so it's not like a super long game or anything, but it is really, really wholesome. I mean, this is just the sort of, if you are looking for a short afternoon game that you can play and finish in one sitting, that is just wholesome, fun, good vibes from start to finish, this is definitely up there. There's like none of the puzzles are super hard. Some of them are, of course, like quite easy. And then you've got some of the ones you may leave till later in the game that are a little bit more difficult that you've got to figure out. But none of it's like super hard or frustrating. Most of the time, it's just funny little writing and gags between characters and bits and bobs. Like the fact that early in the game, you have to get a pair of sunglasses so you can see ghosts and then talk to them. And there's like this town setting where just older people in this big city are just running around like lunatics. They'll point across the screen like with briefcases and whatever else. Like there's a lot of like subtle humor happening in the background. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's nothing that stands out about the story. Kind of by the time I don't want to spoil it, but like you get to the end of the game and you photograph TOEM, the thing that is. And then it's like, all right, time to go home and show your mum the picture, and you show her, and she's like, cool, I'm going to put that on my wall. Credits. Like that is sort of the game. Like it's just sort of a little afternoon trip. And yeah, it's like $25 or whatever. It's on everything. The platinum's fairly easy. That's another thing, I guess, if you want to 100% it. So yeah, I would suggest it if you want some hashtag good feels. Good feels. All right, let's get into something that's not good. So I'm not going to talk about this too much because my review's up now, not up as we're recording, but it'll be up by the time this is posted. I finished writing it right before we started recording, but this is going to be my lowest score I think I've given all year. And I think my headline's just going to be like, or maybe I'll change it, but I don't know. I definitely in my closing statement do call it like one of the biggest disappointments of 2021 for me personally. So SkateBIRD. This game had been...
Wow.
Yeah. This game had been at a lot of these directs and indie showcases, wholesome showcases, whatever, all these sorts of ones. And I was really looking forward to this because I'm like, I like Tony Hawk games. I like skate. I used to be a skater kid. I'm into skateboard games, right? I don't need them to be, I like arcadey ones. I like serious ones, whatever. I just like skateboarding games. They're fun, right? And every time they showed a trailer for this one, it's like cute birds on skateboard. That seems like a fun time. It's Tony Hawk, but you're a bird, the bird man. I get the pun, everyone. Good job. Let's go. Let's have this game. Everything from the trailers, the way it looks, I'll get the good point out of the way. Birds are really cute. There's a wide variety of birds. You can unlock costumes for them. There's a lot of cosmetical items. You can have a lot of fun dressing them up, and they look real cute, and that's a great time. When you play the game, it is fucking terrible. I cannot think of a game that I've played this year or maybe even last year that I've just felt like it really just, I would rather have been doing nearly anything else than playing the game. I found the controls that frustrating. And it comes down, I don't know, it's just like a weird commitment to the joke, I guess, but like you're a bird on a skateboard, so you can ollie, but they flap their wings so it doesn't like look right or whatever. And then the controls, like sometimes you'll be like, I think I'm pressing the button to do a kickflip. The next second it's doing like a completely different trick. And you're like, I don't know. Like basically if you ever did if you pulled off a grind, like if you went to ollie and do a grind and it was a success, it felt like a real win. Because most of the time it was sort of like flipping a coin if the game would actually let you do what you want it to do. And then the one thing they add for the game is they're like, or you're a bird, so you can do two ollies. You can like ollie and then ollie in the air. But then the next second, the bird's like just fucking flipping out and you overshoot where you want to go. You undershoot where you want to go. It's just fucking, and the camera at all points like, oh, you're trying to go in that direction? Or how about the camera like starts like drifting off in this direction? You're like, why? Fuck off. And it's just like, it is frustrating. It is not fun to play. The level, so I didn't finish this. Of course, I note this in my review because I'm a good boy. I always note this, but I'll say it on here as well. There's like 4 or 5 levels or something like that. I played for like 2.5 hours. I got up to the second one. The first level was like so they're like old school Tony Hawk levels, you know, it's like a location or whatever, and you get goals. Yeah. So you basically get missions. But to find the mission, you have to find another bird in that level and talk to them. There is no waypoint. There's no way to compass marker to find them. You simply have to try and find them. So that's frustrating. There's no way to automatically fast travel to them. It's just skating around being like, where the fuck is the next mission? So that's kind of annoying. The first level's like okay, I guess, as far as first levels go. It's just sort of I think I call it a stereotypical like micro machines, but a person's bedroom, you know, so it's just like miniaturized because you're a small bird and a skateboard. It's like sort of kind of what you'd expect. Like, okay, for first level. But holy fuck, if the second level isn't one of the most stupid, just I'm like, why? What is this level? You're like on these rooftops, but there's nothing. It's just so bland. You're like, it's literally just like rooftop connected to rooftop, and you're just sort of like, what am I doing? Like, what's the standout, exciting skate point of this level? Like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's just weird. You're constantly having to transition between rooftops, but then every rooftop looks the same. Or it has like a different color, but it's just a roof. Like, it's just, I'm like, what am I doing in this game? So yeah, I didn't finish it. I was like 2.5 hours. I am not having fun at all. I would call what I'm having like, I didn't want to play it at all. I felt like I did as much as I could to get a good idea. Because once I got to a point, I'm like, it doesn't matter if the next 3 levels or whatever locations are even better designed than this. The fact remains that I hate playing the game on a control. Like, it comes down to controls. So it doesnn't matter. Like, either way, I'm saying that I don't enjoy playing this because I don't think the controls are good. So, yeah, huge disappointment for me. I was generally really looking forward to playing this. And yeah, I mean, you can't win them all, I guess. It sounds like this is one of those things where I hate ripping into it because it makes it sound personal or whatever for the developer or whatever. This is one of those cases, but it's not. Like, it's just the game. It's not good. I personally wouldn't suggest playing it. And as a side tangent, I don't know if anyone saw this. Did you see this thing where, just to add on to this, did you see that thing where they did, Danny O'Dwyer's latest doc was on Prey, and then that whole Dan Stapleton thing come up? That was like a whole interesting. You got any thoughts on that? If you saw it, Ash? What's your 2 cents on that? Hold on. Do you want to explain what happened real quick for people?
So Dan Stapleton played Prey. I don't think it was at the point where Bethesda. I think Bethesda's still doing it, where they don't give out review codes till
launch day,
release day. Yeah. So Dan Stapleton obviously playing the game, and came across a game-breaking bug. Contact with the studio, try and get it fixed. They sent like another version of the game, a save file, but then the game broke again. They said they couldn't fix it, so he gave the game like a 6, and then like 2 hours after release, the game.
I think he gave it a 4 or something. Is the whole
okay, 4. 2 hours later, they released a patch that fixed it.
So
then he upped his score in like.
He upped his score later,
IGN,
but Metacritic doesn't.
But Metacritic doesn't let you change scores.
Yes. So in the doc, the devs are like, that review really hurt us, and it's like this sort of thing where they're like, it affected the sales of the games and all this sort of stuff. So Dan Stapleton had to do this thread on Twitter where he's like, I wasn't attacking them, I was just doing my job as a reviewer. Blah blah blah.
You can only review what you're given. And if there's a serious flaw with the review, and especially in all things, I think this is where Bethesda shot themselves in the foot very much, and that's it. Because if the reviewer had been given the game prior to release day, you would at least have an opportunity to rectify this a lot easier. It's ridiculous that. So the whole Bethesda thing is almost the whole Bethesda release like day and date for review codes was a thing back to trying to avoid reviewers having too much of an effect on their sales of their game, realistically. Yet they're saying, even though they did that, this review still had a negative effect on them, even though they had set themselves up to try and avoid that. Like, that's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, if you're going to release a game, it means not only, if Dan Stapleton's got a code then, it also means, like, actual consumers have bought the game and are playing the game as well.
Yes.
Like, it's not just Dan Stapleton having a bad thing. It'll be every person that ran into that game-breaking bug will have either wanted a refund or have gone on to Metacritic or OpenCritic or Steam or wherever they go to put up their user reviews and said, hey, this game doesn't work, it's busted. We've seen so many games over a long period of time that have had poor, the easiest one is fucking Cyberpunk as of recent. That has such a poor start, and it's nothing to do with only, and in that effort, it was like, well, reviewers are only given the PC version of the game. They can't say anything about the PlayStation version of the game.
But even with the PC version had like a lot of bugs and stuff.
Yeah, it still had bugs and stuff. Like there was still issues. It's
because a lot of people in the replies were like, and the implication was, well, they promised to fix it, so you should have just rated it higher. And yeah, I'm definitely on Dan Stapleton's side where it's like,
there's no guarantees they can know exactly how to fix it.
You can only review a game on what you have in front of you, not what it could be. Because if you
don't rate games on potential.
Yeah, it's
otherwise
it's
things would have 10s already.
The thing that stood out,
maybe they do.
two things stood out to me the most about this, Fred, which is that, like, I was just reminded talking about this because I'm shitty on this game, but as I said, it's nothing against the developers or the people I made it, and it's never the way it should be taken. And I would expect that anyone, indie devs to AAA devs or whoever, from small site to big site, if you work at a game development company, I understand, of course, if you hear someone talking shit on your game or saying it's bad or whatever, as long as it's not personal, saying like so and so, like, the person who did the art, so-and-so, their name is a fucking dickhead, or, like what I mean? Like, it's very, like, particular, I guess.
The person on the legal team
Yeah,
totally sucks.
Fuck this up. Like I can understand them, but like if
I've picked this random name from the credit sequence of the
attack.
game, and I'm yelling this and directing this all at them.
yeah, I would like.
Game.
I'd expect most people like if you're doing something, you sort of just gotta have to be able to learn to take roll with the criticism. I think that's part of the gig. But I do my two things that come up with this thread is just like an interesting thing that I do think that we have a lot of in like just games media or whatever you want to call it. Not Australia, like just general thing where it's like there's like a weird relationship between people reviewing games and like people who make games where it's like I feel like people should be able to like potentially and hopefully if you're like a reviewer for a big outlet like IGN, you should be able to do your job, review a game, and if you think it's shit, say it's shit. And then if you should still be able to then potentially still be friends with someone that works at a studio, and they should understand that you weren't attacking them and you can still talk to them. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like there shouldn't be this weird like.
It should almost also promote like developers getting more people involved in the development of their game towards the end of its developmental period. Like, you know, I'd love to hear. I would love for the SkateBIRD devs to now on their next project bringing more people and get more feedback on the game.
Well, I understand.
Release
There's like
version.
4 people that worked on this. I understand like it's a small
There's
fucking team. Like,
yeah, it's restrictions, but it's not. It's a learning experience, right? And I think developers and companies in general can't learn if people aren't going to be willing to give honest and open feedback on what they're being given to review and to preview and to look at. You know,
the truth is, critics are going to be the nicest people to give you feedback on this.
But
when you compare it to the
like
Steam reviews or
Steam
just
reviews or
basic
something.
people on social media,
especially. Sorry, I just said fucking Steam reviews just make my blood boil, honestly, with how bad they are. There's I can't remember what game it was, but there's the recent. Which game is it? There's a game that is currently being review bombed on Steam by like Chinese fans because it references Taiwan as an individual state.
Life is Strange, True Colors.
Oh no, it is Life is Strange. No, it was Life is Strange before we talk about it. It's being review bombed because of it shows Taiwan as its own country in the game. It's people.
I mean, that's a whole political thing. That's a whole thing.
That's a political topic, but just even the platform.
Fact it's its own country, but yeah.
But it's even just the ability that people see that reviews have to influence things. I think it just has just as much of a positive as it does a negative.
But you know the other thing though, this whole like Dan Stabler thing, it really I find it interesting that they're like going, well, he should have like waited on his review or whatever, and like it's sort of Dan's fault or whatever. I'm like, how? Like, you know whose fault it is? It's the amount of like thing that's been put into Metacritic and whatever weighing so much on the games industry these days, and it like why development and publishers weigh so much on like, you know, if you reach an 86 you get like a bonus and that sort of shit. Like that's literally how some of the big studios work. You know, if you reach a Metacritic score you get a bonus. Like that's fucked. But then also if that's really how we want to work, why the fuck doesn't Metacritic let sites update their review scores once I don't know, you can make it really strict. Like you can update your review score once within 3 months or something potentially, or you know, like allow a window for small bugs or something. I don't know. Like, why is it his fault for reviewing it as it was then and not being able to fix the Metacritic thing or the prevalence of Metacritic to bonuses or whatever? It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's fucking weird.
Do you also think it's a general, don't want to say community issue, but an issue with the reviewing system in general? That should IGN have just been like, hey, let's not put a score on this one when there's quite obviously something that could be fixed. Like,
why?
Let's just.
Why?
That's
broken.
also
they
true.
released it broken.
Yeah.
They released it broken. No,
literally, if you install a game on your console or PC, well,
yeah,
your console
that's
in this
fair.
case,
especially when it's
update it. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Your job doing it
potentially. There was like a certain thing that he was doing that was the cause of this game ending bug, but yeah, there's a potential there to the game being broken.
Yeah, I'm like, this wouldn't be a problem if we take out the whole Metacritic meaning so much to the industry type thing.
Yeah,
like
but
that's a whole thing.
that's not going to happen.
No,
Yeah.
but that's a lot of revolves
Because
around.
there's no other way to reward good work.
I don't know, just reward it. You don't need Metacritic to look at the big sites and go, oh fuck, they all gave it pretty high. Hey, yeah, bonuses everyone, beers on me. You know, like let's go.
No, because you need like a concrete written legal thing, I would imagine.
Yeah, legal thing. If GameSpot, IGN, whoever give it above an average of this, put that in your contract. I don't know.
So that's pretty much what Metacritic is, right?
Yeah, but just make it on your thing or whatever. I don't know. It's a weird reliance on Metacritic. Anyway, that's the whole thing. Let's move on before we fucking...
Okay.
The whole episode's about...
I wouldn't worry. I don't think Bethesda's going to, like... Do you reckon Bethesda's going to keep leaving it till the last minute? Or do you think they're not going to care about reviews anymore because they don't sell games anymore?
Deathloop, there was codes prior to...
Because all the games are on Game Pass. Oh.
Yeah, I got the joke. I was choosing to ignore your Game Pass pun.
No, Kieran didn't get it.
No, Bethesda doesn't do this anymore.
I was
pulled this
taking
back
him...
in recent years.
That's what this is. Okay, yep.
Yeah, that's fine. I was taking him as being genuine and not, arcade couch Ashley. That's my
But
apologies,
no, yeah. Do you think they will continue?
No, they
do you think
this
they
for a
get
while.
that much anonymity?
They haven't done it for a while.
Well, no, that's true. Deathloop, there was still some.
It's known they still blacklist some sites, and they won't give them review copies at all if they continually sort of give them low scores or talk shit about them. Like it's well known that like sort of Kotaku's like blacklisted by Bethesda and whatever else. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure review copies for most of their titles, the last few big ones have gone out ahead of time for all the big outlets, including IGN. So, as far as I'm aware. So, let's get into another game though. Life is Strange 2 Colors. Kieran, you reviewed it. You gave it a I forgot 9.5. Was that it?
I gave it a 9.5.
There you go. Talk about the game.
Last week, sadly, because we didn't get a review copy, I picked up the game day of release, and I was able to jump in alongside everybody else and get a review
Good
up.
job.
I did do it.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
And look, honestly, Life is Strange is very much high up in one of my favorite games of this year. True Colors was, for me, a returning to the original game and what the original game did so well. Not that Life is Strange 2 was bad. I just think Life is Strange 2 had its own problems with its release schedule, which have been sorted by the entire 5 episodes being releasing at the same time, as well as I feel like that game was a little bit too stuck in its political messaging and its more real-life kind of discussion that it wanted to do. True Colors, though, brings us back to a small-town setting. Places you in the shoes of Alex as she's moving to the town of Haven, and really lets you spend time in this town and enjoy the connection with people. It gives you... Alex has the ability to perceive emotions as these kind of colored auras that are around them. And you can read people's thoughts a little bit. You can kind of get a feel of why they're feeling that way. And then it also begins later in the game of presenting the idea of Alex being able to suppress or change those emotions. And I think it provides a really interesting dichotomy to the discussion of it that I feel like Deck 9 this time haven't gone with a very on-the-nose writing style. They've left a lot of the discussion around her powers and around the moral choices and use of her powers very much in the player's hands. It's not really a focal point of characters discussing it in the game. The only thing, it's kind of Alex muses upon it in her journal writings, but it allows players to kind of have those thoughts themselves and make those decisions for themselves without feeling like you're being slapped on the wrist for making one decision or another. And I think this game both achieves and suffers from its more freeform kind of storytelling in many ways. I think it gives from that side of things where it isn't forcing you to think about certain things, but definitely gives you the option and gives you the lead to really ponder those things yourself. At the same time, it does lead to certain characters kind of their stories not being obvious or obvious objectives to be done. So there was, my review, I mentioned there's one kind of character that in my gameplay and my playthrough kind of dropped off the face of the earth because I didn't have an interaction with them in a later episode that wasn't an obvious thing, that was only really kind of a small offhand comment. But overall, I think this game really does return to what everybody loved about Life is Strange. There is great character interactions, really well written and well developed characters, an interesting environment to discover and explore. How Alex's own story links in with the story of Haven and the things happening around it. And look, Decline haven't gone out of the way and kind of removed all of their more real life messaging from the game. There's still very much a discussion about capitalism and big corporations and how big corporations interact with people and how much power they have. But at the same time, this game does tackle so many other kind of deeper topics of, just children going through adoption and people dealing with Alzheimer's and various kind of choices that people have to make in their lives. And look, for the first time, I can say about a Life is Strange game, this game is absolutely stunning. The moments in this game really do just capture the beauty in the moments. The staple moments that I think I go on about in my review a little bit too long, maybe for my own liking, but it's just how much passion I am for those moments of stillness that Dylan and me have talked about so many times now with Life is Strange games, where they play music in the background and let you just ponder. And like the playlist, like along with the Angus and Julia Stone album that was released at the same time in conjunction with the game, the supporting cast of music and sound that is within this game is absolutely stunning. It is, even like a week later, I'm still, it's kind of my go-to playlist is the soundtrack for Life is Strange True Colors. So it is a fantastic game. I want more people to pick it up and play it. I'm really looking forward to when Dylan gets the time for him finishing off the game and us talking about it on Beyond the Strange when Dylan gets around to it. But
one chapter in.
Yeah. Oh no. But no, and I don't look. It's a real positive to see more and more people throughout the week been picking up this game based on people's reactions to it. And I think Life is Strange is a fantastic series in general. I think even if you've had issues in the past with it, I think this is a very fresh reimagining. A lot of the problems from the past have kind of, some of them are not there, some of them are just there because that's part of
I'll throw you one criticism. You played this on PlayStation, right? Surprisingly.
I did indeed, yes. Yeah.
Why didn't you play it on PC?
I prefer is because I prefer these kinds of games being able to chill out on the couch.
Okay.
And just play through them and be relaxed and stuff.
I think it's got the frame rate gets fucked when you're in the middle of the town.
Frame rate does some weird things every now and then. I don't think I had the issues that often.
I don't mean like it's not unplayable, but it drops to like 30 when it seems to be running at like 60, but you notice it because it has like a sharp drop when you're in the more open areas of the town, especially like right at the start of the game in the first chapter. But then once you get inside, it's fine. And then the other weird thing I found, as I said, I'm only chapter in, so this is just technical things I've noticed, but the other weird thing is the game has ray tracing, but it's not automatically turned on. You have to go into the options menu and you can turn ray tracing on, and it didn't seem to affect the performance at all. Like it was still exactly the same. So I'm like, why isn't this just automatically on? They got this turned off for a reason. So anyway, that's my weird thing I've noticed.
Yeah, no, you know what? That just means I just played through the entire game without ray tracing, and that kind of.
You know how you know how you can tell I'm a true PC gamer, because it doesn't matter what I'm playing on. I go straight into the options and I check those video settings, right?
To be honest, with consoles, I just believe they are.
You got it nowadays. They have so many different options on most games. They got like several different performance modes and all this sort of shit. You got to check what shit's running at, even though consoles.
But I think it is such a step up though in graphical fidelity, it looks real pretty. Nature and just art side. Like it is.
That's my one takeaway. It looks very pretty. Another thing is that motion capture has made a huge difference to the characters. Like instead of just being,
I think
like them sort of post animating and trying to animate the motion to the characters, actually having the motion capture there, it does make a huge difference, and it has me really excited more so for the remasters now, because initially I was like, oh, they're adding motion capture to those games. How much a difference could that make? But having playing this and noticing the motion capture in action, not just like seeing it in trailers, sort of like 2 second clips, like seeing characters like talk backwards and forwards, and I'm like, well, this motion capture is like a lot smoother and more subtle sort of eye moments and whatever else.
It's one of the things where I think it's about time, considering it's a game that focuses heavily on emotions. So
it's probably just because the first one was technically like an indie thing Square Enix published or whatever. Like it didn't have much money, and then the second one, I guess, was
Yeah, no, it's. I think with this one as well, it because the game is about emotions. It's great that characters can show emotion on their faces. It's not just kind of more doll-like or unemotive characters like the previous games. And I think one of the shortcomings for Life is Strange 2 is the fact that it is that long distance journey that is kind of every single episode was in a new location with new characters, and you never really got time to settle in and to get to know characters and to build up connections with characters and understand what's going on here. I think this True Colors really comes back to that and really brings what people like the kind of classic reference to Life is Strange 1 is the final choice is Bay or Bay, and I think that's something that was kind of created by fans' reception and connection to characters. So no, I'm really excited for September 30th when Wavelengths comes out. If you picked up the deluxe edition of the game, you have it already. So that is going to follow one of the side characters. You can also buy it separately. That is true. But it is, follows a year beforehand, and it follows Steph, one of the side characters.
Who's from Beyond the Strange, for people who didn't. Oh, not from Beyond. So from Before the Storm.
Wow.
Yes.
Imagine
Shout outs. From Before
so is this the best Life is Strange?
Yes. I definitely.
So it's your personal number one.
It's my personal number one.
What's your ranking then?
Yes, it is.
Out of all four.
All
four.
Well, it sounds like 3-1-2.
So
including Before the Storm.
Go 3-1 Before the Storm 2.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I think I would go 2. I'm currently 2 Before the Storm 1, so I'll be interested to see what my.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
You say 2 is that high? I thought.
Yeah, I really like 2.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I like all of them. I don't think any of them's bad. I guess is the other important thing.
No,
I rank them all quite high. I like all of them.
It's a scale of greatness, but okay, that's fair enough.
And then the last review that we posted up this week was from Buddy Watson from Radio Watson, making his review debut.
Explosion Network writing debut.
He reviewed Lake for us. So I've talked about this previously. I did a preview from another one of those things what event I can't remember the fucking name of, but I did play a demo of it. And I was looking forward to this. I still haven't had a chance to play it, but I don't know. It was like one of those Steam fucking things. I don't know. There's all these
PAX?
No.
PAX Online or something?
It wasn't a PAX.
No,
it was one of the events that has in conjunction with Steam.
Yeah. It wasn't PAX though. It was something else. Anyway.
Ludonaricon?
Don't know. Yeah, maybe. Could be. Anyway. He gave it a 6. His review basically boils down to it kind of getting a bit too repetitive and whatever else, but he did enjoy the characters and ultimately just dragged on a bit too long. It's kind of what his review sounds like. But check out his review, of course, explosionnetwork.com, read Buddy's Lake review. Kieran, you played a little bit, I think, Lake, right?
Yeah, no, I've played at least halfway through the game. I agree with a lot of Buddy's sentiments on the review, even at the point I'm in. Trundling around in the post van is good when it comes to going to places where there's going to be a character interaction, and you very quickly know the places where there's going to be a character interaction. But to make it feel more like a mail running simulator, they chuck in a whole other bunch of deliveries for you to do that just involves you jumping out of the van, walking up to the post box, jumping back into the van. Maybe some technical limitations just mean that, every time you get in and out of the van, there isn't an animation for that. It just fades to black and then comes back in with you inside the postal truck, which is somewhat annoying as you go through. I think one of my gripes and it's a story point, so I guess there's a reason for it, but there is a very limited soundtrack to this game in terms of music, and that does, of course, come from probably the size of the development team. And
I think it's a story point they've tried to make work because they didn't have the budget to pay for licensed music.
Yes. Yes, but there is... Because I think there was something... I can't remember, I think with the trailer and with this leading in, I had the idea of how I was excited for this game just to have the relaxing drive around the city, meeting some people, but having cool music playing on in the background. and whether that is more lo-fi style music or anything. But so yeah, I think the characters are good. Very much like the original Life is Strange being an indie game, the characters are a tad lifeless in many ways, and their facial expressions are very still. But there's some good characters. It is nothing too deep though. It never gets into really more of a deep kind of the overall decision that your character's making throughout it is done very obviously, and there's never really a reason that it pulls you one way or the other. It's interesting that it's set in I think it's either late 80s or 90s.
I think it's the early 90s, wasn't it? I can't remember.
No, it'll be early 90s. It'll be like mid to early 90s just because of some of the movies and some of the things referenced in there. So, but it is, it's a good game if you're wanting something to jump in and just troll around in a little mail cart. I think it's good for you.
And you can play it everywhere now, by the way, everyone, because it was originally refused classification in Australia because there's a scene where you can accept a joint. Now that was an automated decision, and since then they've of course said, hey, can you? They had to pay money. They would have paid the $5,000 or whatever it costs to get their game manually re-reviewed, but now it's back up on Xbox or whatever. Of course, even when it was refused classification, you could still just play it on Steam because Steam's like, we don't give a fuck. We do whatever we want. So yeah,
ratings are recommendations, yo.
Yeah. But that's literally all it was. There's a scene in the game where a character goes, do you want to smoke a joint?
Hey, would you like it, sorry?
And if you click yes, the character, Meredith, whatever, takes a puff. And if you click no, she doesn't. But that's why it was banned, everyone. That little old smoking weed scene.
It's banned. 18 plus rating, am I right?
Yeah, no, it's too hardcore for us. Legalize weed. I don't know. If we legalize weed, everyone, we wouldn't have this problem. Just saying. All right, let's get into some news. This week, early Saturday morning, THQ Nordic held their 10th anniversary showcase stream thing where they were like, we're going to announce 6 games, and Jeff Keighley's hosting it, and let's have a good old time. Went for 20 minutes, I think, something like that. Run down.
That's good.
It wasn't that long, but I mean, I didn't get totally bored. There just wasn't a lot in here for me personally.
Sounds like it was better than the Koch media.
Yeah, there wasn't much talking. There wasn't much bullshit talking. It was more Jeff's in the next game, blah, 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 and then they played the trailer. So it wasn't
before we dive too deep into this, can you guys remember when THQ Nordic really formed, and there was almost a little bit of talk of rumbling about how this is going to be what kind of pushes THQ or THQ Nordic to become a bigger publisher? It's to form itself.
No, they're filling that double A space that doesn't exist anymore, other than them. It's literally what they do, double A games, which disappeared. And we either have AAA or indies, and they're kind of somewhere in the middle, and that's their thing. I will point out the other thing they announced at the end of this showcase, right at the end, they had a message that popped up and said, THQ Nordic has 42 games in development, meaning there are still 28 unannounced games in development at THQ Nordic, which is fucked. But
there's always an obscene amount of games that they're still freaking.
Well, they spent their first year
just buying
every
shit,
single property that they can,
and we're finally seeing some of them come out. So, firstly, they had Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobe was announced. This got leaked a couple of days prior, so this wasn't a huge surprise. Actually, it was PlayStation's official Twitter account, which posted the trailer ahead of time accidentally before deleting it. So good job, PlayStation, with that one. This one is, of course, remake of the original second game, except for adding in a few new features. The first remake was just sort of a direct remake. This one, they're we're going to do some more split screen co-op, new features, gameplay things, whatever else. Let's go crazy.
Hey, this one we're going to do some work on.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I can't remember what I gave the first one. It might have been a 6 at the highest or something like that.
I think it was.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I just I didn't think that it aged. I didn't think that the jokes aged poorly, the humor aged poorly, the gameplay was okay. I think the gameplay could be fun if it was just built upon a little bit. So maybe that's what they could get with this one. I mean, I'd be keen to give this one a go again because I think, I have just fond memories of these games as a kid, even if I think the humor didn't age that well or whatever else. I think this one's set in 1969 or something from memory. I didn't write it down in this news piece, but I think that's when it's set. I did play, so it's a PS2 Xbox game, by the way. That's how old it is. So then we get into some stuff where I'm and a lot of these games, I'm what the fuck am I watching? And then I Google it. And they're like, this franchise has been dead for like 20 years. And apparently has a hardcore audience. I'm like, well, someone's happy somewhere. And I'd look in like the YouTube comments as I'm watching and people are like, oh my God. And I'm like, what is this? And the first one was Outcast 2, A New Beginning. So yeah, this is a game that was, the first one was released in 1999. They announced the sequel in 2000 and then it never happened. And so now it's coming back. You play as a character called Cutter Slade, who's been brought back to life after dying. And the Yods, whatever the fuck they are, but it's said several times between this and Jeff Keighley, the Yods are coming in. You got to save them from robots coming to their planet, Eldelpha. Go fucking hardcore. Apela, I'm not sure how to say it. Studios is the developer. They released the remake of Outcast back in 2017, which Nacon actually published, not directly THQ Nordic, but there you go. Separate Expeditions Rome. We got a little bit of a video. Nothing crazy with that one. We already knew about it. MX versus ATV Legends was announced. It's a fucking MX versus ATV game. If you've ever seen or played one of those. There used to be like one every year, I swear, at some stage. Like you'd always see a new one somewhere, somehow. I actually had a friend in high school that was obsessed. He would buy them all. They were like his favorite fucking franchise. So I'm sure he's happy. I mean, it looked all right, graphics wise, I guess. The frame rate looked kind of fucked, but there we go. Then you got Superpower 3, another game I didn't know about. So it's a new entry in the strategy game series. We control one of the nations of the Earth and attempt to rule it better than our real world leaders. There hasn't been a new game in the Superpower franchise for over 10 years. That was the last one. So again, another really dominant.
Superpower 2 came out 2004.
There you go. It's quite a while ago. So this is again, they have brought these franchises, and now we're kind of seeing what they're doing with them. We got another story trailer for Elix 2. Nothing crazy, at least for me as someone who doesn't know anything about the franchise, but this was already a known property or thing that was happening. Then we got Jagged Alliance, which I did see a few people happy about. So that, like, even on Twitter, like people I follow, this one seemed to be a sort of a known property. I didn't know anything about it. So this is in hands of developer Hamanon Games. I'm not sure. So they worked on Tropico 4-5, Surviving Mars. It's a classic turn-based combat sort of thing, you know, like you play as a group of mercenaries and you're doing jobs or whatever. From the brief glimpse of gameplay I saw, I was like, this looks like a game I'd play. The trailer with the characters, they all look sort of silly, like over-the-top stereotypical. That I think maybe that's the point of the game, but also I'm like, I don't know about that. But the gameplay, I was like, I can get into this. I do like, you know, this sort of stuff when it's done right. So yeah, that's a maybe for me. I didn't know anything about Jagged Alliance either. Apparently there's been a bunch of non-numbered entries, but this is the first numbered entry since 2004. So again, long dormant franchise brought back. And then the last game they showed was SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. So this is a brand new SpongeBob SquarePants game coming off the success of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which I think was Kieran's first review on the website.
It was something, yeah. I tell you.
So this is a new one, not a remake, where the premise is SpongeBob and Patrick accidentally like open portals to other universes or something. There's no gameplay in the trailer. It sort of just shows them floating between different worlds, and you know, SpongeBob has a pirate hat on and then all this other sort of stuff. I think this has the potential to be good. So like it can sort of go for that classic platforming gameplay that they did with the remake, but you know, update it to more modernized standards, I guess, a little bit, and you probably have a winner on your hands, I feel. So this has potential to be good. I personally feel, as someone who, you know, I didn't play the remake, but I remember I played a lot of SpongeBob games back when I was a kid, you know, watched SpongeBob, of course. So I'm intrigued by this. I hope it turns out to be good. Kieran, anything in this whole showcase stand out to you?
I hope with SpongeBob they actually are kind of applying modern day gameplay and kind of revamping it, and not just trying to recreate the turd that was covered in glitter that was
a lot of people like that
rehydrated.
You know,
it did, but that's nostalgia, and there's only so much nostalgia gets you, really. I don't know. It was pretty, but they never did anything to kind of update it or revamp it. And I think one of the things that I think the game community has come to recognize now is what is just like a HD remake and what studios are actually building from the ground up. So I hope this is
Ratchet and Clank
100%
SpongeBob apart.
What? No.
I mean, it's literally they're going through rifts and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
But no, I hope this is good. I think this is, SpongeBob is a good IP in terms of its positioning. With I think isn't it Camp SpongeBob now? Is the thing or something like that? I don't know. There's a different version of the show that this art style looks a lot like. So, more power to it. Other than that, as I said, this is just like if you were just to sit most people down and be like, okay, tell me what a THQ Nordic showcase looks like, you could probably fiddle your way through and describe most of the games in this. I don't think there's anything too special. I think it's, them relying on Destroy All Humans. There's only, one more game to go for them to rely on for a remake.
Again, I will say, even though none of us know a lot of these franchises, the comments section, live comments, people were freaking out for some of these things. So...
yeah. I mean, it's just a series of niche games and franchises. So I can't fault them for, putting out stuff for, certain audiences that are going to love it. So...
I mean, technically, it's all niche. SpongeBob's for
they're not
SpongeBob,
going
Destroy All Humans is for Destroy All Humans fans, Jagged Alliance is for Jagged Alliance fans. I hope they're bringing new people along the way, but that seems to be THQ Nordic's thing for the most part.
They know that these games have a massive or big enough core audience to release a new game. So, and obviously they've got found studios that want to make those. So,
did anything stand out to you, Ash? Or?
Not really. Jagged Alliance looks like something I would put some time into, but everything else is wait and see. So,
yeah, that's fair. I will say also that I forget the name. Handy Games, which is part of THQ Nordic and Embracer Group, they had a 2-minute sort of showcase thing at the front end of this, a hype reel. And they're doing their own showcasey thing soon. They sort of, if THQ is doing AA games, this Handy Games sort of subsidiary or whatever you want to call it, they're doing the actual sort of indie games or smaller games or whatever. So there's some cool stuff in there. So see how that goes as well.
If we ever need to do a fill-in episode or an evergreen episode, we should just go through the list of THQ acquisitions.
And, see what they. Wow, we should be right for the rest of the year. I'd assume maybe for one of those January episodes. Something like that. It's usually where we run into trouble sometimes. All right, so 2 game delays. Let's start with Battlefield 2042 has been delayed from October 22nd till November 19th. I don't think
and the internet took it very well, right?
I don't actually know if people got angry about it or.
I think I barely heard about this, to be honest.
Really? I saw lots of people saying
maybe that's just my Twitter sphere, but
I saw people talking about other people being very upset.
Who was upset and why were they upset? It's a month.
Battlefield fans, because they want it now.
But last Battlefield released and people were angry because it ran like shit at the time. So are we now just wanting stuff to release so we can complain about it running like shit?
Listen, Dylan, people don't know what they want. They just want to be angry. That's why all these freedom rallies are popping up.
Well, you know what? Fuck. By the way, did you see the videos from some of those fuckwits over this weekend? Oh my fucking god. Yeah. I mean, I'm keen for this still. So, but it's there's enough fucking games out. I'm pretty sure I can survive. I'm good. And then also,
yes.
Yeah. What? Oh, games. Yeah.
No, like you said, there's too many games out at the moment.
There's literally so
good
much,
games.
Yeah. There's so much choices to play that I just feel like if you're going to get that upset over Battlefield, pick something else to play. And then also Dying Light 2 was delayed. It was originally supposed to release for December. And now you're going to have to wait until February 4th, 2022. I'm continually surprised this game isn't cancelled. And when it releases, I'll be quite fucking shocked. Not that I'm against it releasing, more power to it, but I've always, we never heard about it for so long, and it magically came back and all this. I'm like, what a story this game's happening, When it releases, it'll feel like The Last Guardian nearly for me. Not quite that bad, but.
I mean, I hate to say it, but why are you putting it out in February?
Yeah,
at this point,
February's
we've
fucked.
already seen. Yeah. February is very stacked. Why wouldn't you
It's the majority of the
push
first
it
half
to-
of the first part of the year's fucked, to be perfectly honest. In terms of,
I mean, yeah, there's no happy place, but I would definitely. 4th is not a terrible. I mean, Elden Ring comes out 21st. Pokemon Legends comes out 28th.
There's a big
Horizon doesn't come out until the 18th.
There's a big divide between a couple of those franchises and the people who want to play them.
Yeah, but it's like, but like mind share, I think is like, that's what it's going to be competing against, like social clout.
Social clout, he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone care about Dying Light? Is anyone actually caring to?
No, like you said, I would be.
I
hope it comes out.
It's one of those things that when it comes out, I'll grab it and be looking forward to playing it. But until then, it's just kind of a middle tier game for me. There's nothing.
I mean, it's been in so long they could have done a remaster of the original game to release with.
No, just keep making DLC. So it's fine. They put out DLC the week for it, I think. Not even a meme. I think they did. And talking about someone was joking about, I think recently, Pokemon 25 the album finally got a release date. We thought this was dead. Wow. It's actually finally releasing. So it
is amazing how much power we have. In this podcast.
We mentioned something and it happened.
We mentioned something.
Yeah, did we joke about it on the show, or did we joke about it off the show?
I'm pretty sure on the show.
Okay. And then literally like a week or two later, it's now.
Like over the food thing last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the food thing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it comes out October 15th. Of course, it includes the Smash Hit Electric from Katy Perry, Post Malone's Only Want to Be with You Pokemon version, and then you've got a bunch of other songs, including artists like Lil Yachty and Vince Staples on this. Fucking banger. I'm actually pretty keen to listen because I actually do like Vince Staples and stuff. So, yeah, but if you're wondering, I guess this is just more of a PSA than anything else. If you was wondering what the fuck happened to that album, because we did talk about it like 7 months ago when it was announced.
Well, we talked about it when
Post Malone did his digital video thing.
Yeah,
before that. I'm pretty sure it was even before that. It was like with the announcement of the 25th.
Yeah.
Celebration.
Wasn't it? No. Wasn't it when the Katy Perry song was released?
Hers was after Post Malone.
Really?
Yeah, the timeline is crazy.
Yep. It's true. So anyway, look forward to that October 15th. You can preload it through Spotify, iTunes, whatever the fuck you want to do if you want to do that. Let's get into.
Do you reckon we're going to get music videos for all of these?
No, they're done. The album's just dropping. The rest is just music. They've done Katy Perry and whatever else.
What are the odds of it being a secret track with the Poke Rap?
No, absolutely zero. Absolutely zero. I'm saying it right now. Absolutely zero.
Bullshit. 0 out of 10.
Absolute fucking zero. No modern day rappers are wanting to ruin their careers by doing a updated version of the Poke Rap. The only person who would do that is
don't get
Will Smith.
Find somebody.
Will Smith would do it. That's who.
Yeah.
I don't listen to that though.
Well, bring back the original people.
They're dead. I actually don't know if they're dead. I
Wow. You just bring in some big Hollywood producer.
No one wants to listen to Poke Rap.
Help. You say that, but
no one actually does. It's one of those things where you think you do, but you don't.
Someone puts out a new version of Poke Rap, you're going to be thinking it's a banger. I guarantee it. And somebody's going to. It'll happen.
It's probably already on YouTube, to be honest. BleedingCool.com writes, Tomb Raider Netflix anime series taps Hayley Atwell as Lara Croft. They write, it looks like Hayley Atwell is doing from Shield slinging as Captain Carter to raiding teams as Lara Croft, with Netflix announcing Atwell will voice the lead role in the streamer's upcoming Tomb Raider anime series from Powerhouse Animation. First announced back in January 2021. The series picks up after the events of the highly successful Tomb Raider video game reboot trilogy, 25 years after her first game appeared. Lara continues to explore new territory. Executive producers on this are Tasha Hugh, Witcher, Blood Origin, Red Sonja, DJ2 Entertainment founder and CEO Dimitri M. Johnson, who did Sonic the Hedgehog, and he got some people under his company. So I think this is perfect casting as far as voice acting and casting goes. I saw this the other day. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm keen now. I went from being like, yeah, maybe to fuck yeah, let's go. That's how I feel.
It's weird to have a form of medium that actually gives me excitement about video game versions of them. Like I don't know, there's been now anime is established to be people seem to be doing it right recently, and it seems to be working well. So, fuck, let's just keep rolling it until one of them blows up in our faces. And I think Hayley Atwell is fantastic casting, as you said. So, yeah, look forward to it.
Any thoughts, Ash?
I like Hayley Atwell. She's good. But, I mean, if it's a direct sequel to the video games trilogy, why wouldn't you just bring back Camilla Luddington?
She's off in Hollywood now, right? I don't know. Fucked up, I know.
This is a animated series.
Yeah, fucked if I know. I don't know. I don't know. They wanted a bigger name, I guess, to draw more interest, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. She's a bigger name. I hate to spoil it for you, Ash, but...
No, yeah, I know. But, you know...
I mean, that could be a legit reason. Then Camilla Luddington is not brought back. I don't know. Also, I don't know how the last game ended because I got bored and I never went back and finished it. So, I assume.
Oh yeah, you're streaming
but
that, weren't you?
It needs to go on your great and well photoshopped pile of games.
I haven't been doing that this year because I haven't actually had time to do. This year's been like busier than last year.
They've actually put out games. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been like busy most of the time.
You know.
The games industry continuing on the train. Ubisoft revives Driver as live action series, writes gamesindustry.biz. Ubisoft is working on a new Driver project, but perhaps not the ones fans of the franchise were expecting. The publisher has announced that Ubisoft Film and Television is working on a live-action show based on the open-world driving game. As with past games in the series, it will focus on an undercover agent and ex-race car driver, John Tanner, as he tries to take down a crime syndicate. The franchise has not been seen on a consoles since 2011's Driver San Francisco, also known as Driver San Francisco Coma Edition, with the most recent release being a free-to-play mobile game, Driver Speedboat Paradise, which, as the title suggests, centers entirely around boats. The Driver show will be released exclusively on binge.com, a new streaming platform announced at E3 2021 that will showcase original premium content inspired by the most popular video game worlds and their content creators. And yes, asterisk, Binge is a streaming service already in Australia.
I was confused for a second. I was like, Foxtel's Binge?
Nope. Ubisoft is launching their own service.
You know how I
Binge.
just said that anime is a medium that fills me with hope? Yeah. This is the polar opposite of that.
We haven't seen... Well, to be fair, I'll give it a little bit of something, which is that Ubisoft is currently 1-for-1, I think, as far as I'm sort of concerned. So Assassin's Creed wasn't received well, and I didn't like that. Werewolves Within, I haven't watched yet, but has been received well. And I know that's not of the same property scale. However, it is still technically under their video game adaptation thing. And then, of course, they've already announced they're doing the Division thing, which I think is Netflix. Oh, it says down the bottom here. Yeah, Netflix to produce films like Tom Clancy's The Division, Beyond Good and Evil, and Assassin's Creed is also now going there. So they've got a bunch of shit on the way. They're kind of currently 1-for-1. This sounds terrible, though. I don't really care. This just sounds so... like it's this kind of thing that works in a game, but I just think the plot of Driver, for the most part, is just such a stereotypical 80s movie thing that once you translate it back into a movie or a TV show, it just loses what kind of makes it cool, which is that people like that it was sort of giving you a movie or TV show feel in a video game. And that was sort of the attractive point in the first place. Also, I can't believe they really have not released a new game since Driver San Francisco. And if in case anyone missed the joke about that, it was because in that game you're in a coma. You're in a hospital in a coma, and you could take control of other drivers and shoot your consciousness around, or something along those lines. That was the
hopefully that's a part of this TV series.
That game.
Well, what's the difference between a driver and a transporter? You know,
Jason Statham, mate.
I mean, do you reckon he's going to wear like a white jacket with like some sort of bug on it?
I don't know. I you know what I hope? I hope you want to make the most like gamer driver translation. You have the first episode be set on the underground parking lot, and you make the entire TV series about him being unable to pass all the tests to complete that level. Because by God, if you played the original Driver back in the day, I never beat that. And I know nearly no one else, as far as I know, that game doesn't have game after that point. I couldn't beat it. I'd ask my dad as a little kid, like, can you beat this? He couldn't fucking beat it. I never got past that fucking point. So if you want to make an authentic experience, it's 8 episodes in a underground car park where you can't fucking reverse parallel car park.
The first episode is is you're introduced to a character who's terrible at driving, and then the actual good driver comes in afterwards.
Well, no, it's just the fact that, you know, in that tutorial, you just got a piece of paper with do one of these things, and as a 10-year-old kid being like, do a J turn, do a fucking.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck does this mean?
What are these things? Like, there's nothing showing. Yeah, there's nothing showing you. It's for
video
fucking
viewers,
audio listeners. Yeah. We're looking at the video, but yeah, it is like it doesn't actually tell you how to do the things. It's just like, hey, do these things. So I would love to know. I think it'd be a fascinating percentage of people that bought this game but never made it past the tutorial.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is no game after, as far as I'm concerned. So. And they gave you like 60 seconds to do it or whatever. It's ridiculous.
What was fantastic was, I think it was the second one, but it was Driver London, and that shit was awesome.
There was some of the PS2 ones or whatever were pretty good, but
yeah, Driver London was on PS2, and that was really good. That was quite enjoyable. So look, I've not got much hope for it, but sure, let's go Ubisoft.
All right, Apple and Epic. So The Verge had, I think, the best take on this, and the one that I guess is sort of the main points is one I've gone with. So they had an article said, Apple and Epic both lost today. Apple stands to lose billions. Epic failed to #free Fortnite. And they got this whole article that I suggest everyone read. Where I guess I'll read just the opening of it, but I suggest everyone read it. I thought it was quite good. They do a little bit of catch up because it's been a while since we talked about it. It was on May 11th, the 7th day of Epic vs. Apple trial. The judge, Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers, hit upon a compromise neither company had asked for. She asked Epic's economist. Why am I struggling with that word? That's why I add it to that list of words that Dylan's brain hates. David Evans, if it would be sufficient to kill Apple's anti-steering rules, the ones Apple uses to keep developers from even telling you that there's a perfectly good external website where you can purchase your subscription instead of inside the app itself. On May 24th, the final day of the trial, the judge hinted she was still leaning toward the exact sort of compromise, one that might not please either side, one that might involve Apple's anti-steering rules. That's what happened today. Both sides lost, but Epic arguably lost more. In a win for developers, but not for Epic, Gonzalez Rogers ruled for a permanent nationwide injunction blocking Apple not only from keeping iPhone users in the dark about alternative ways they can pay, but potentially allowing developers to actually stick their own purchase mechanisms into their own apps. It heavily depends on how the court define a button, so stay tuned for more of that. It's not a win for Epic for two reasons. First, because the judge explicitly decided that Epic's injunction of its own direct payment scheme into Fortnite on iOS, a move designed to provoke this entire lawsuit, was not okay. Epic breached its contract with Apple. Second, because even if Epic did want to now insert, say, a PayPal button into Fortnite, it can't. Apple terminated Epic's developer account when the company breached its contract, and Judge Gonzalez Rogers confirmed that Apple is completely within its rights to keep Epic off the Apple Store for good. Epic also directly lost some $3.6 million, which it has to pay Apple. That's because Epic made roughly $12.2 million in revenue with the direct payment mechanism it injected into Fortnite against Apple's rules, and Gonzalez Rogers decided that Apple deserves its 30% cut of that money. Indirectly, you could argue that Epic also lost its considerable investment in making this lawsuit a success. Not only legal fees, which it won't recoup, but potentially hundreds of millions of dollars from people who would have been playing Fortnite on iOS for its not the removal from the Apple App Store. In its first 2 years, the game made $614 million on the iOS alone, according to Epic's records. $52.7 million of that just in Q4 2019. So after this happened, there was a lot of people saying, I think most articles were going, Epic wins. Seemed to be the headline. I think
a lot of people were saying Epic wins. Yes.
And I think that the thing was, because developers are now allowed to point people outside of apps to buy in-game currency or whatever, people are going, Epic won. However, that is literally the one out of...
It's literally everybody but Epic.
Yeah.
Well, it's everybody but Epic, because Epic, the biggest thing that Epic wanted from this lawsuit was for the court to tell Apple that they were wrong, to let Epic back on their store.
And Epic does a big dance there in the room, goes, yeah, we were right, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Epic does it.
They do
Epic
67
like the L's,
different emotes.
It's like it does its Facebook
Charges
L dance,
everybody.
which it's allowed to do because it hasn't stolen from anybody. And Epic got fucked in this one. Like, yeah, Apple probably in the long run, Apple loses a lot because the amount of revenue that they're going to lose by.
Well, let me throw out a quick question. How much money do you think they will lose? Because even if people have alternative options available, it's like an extra 5-6 button clicks compared to just automatically paying in the app for credit.
Well, yeah, but it's super easy just incentivize people to.
But the thing
is, hey, it's going to be 5% cheaper if you go this way.
They'll lose some, but I reckon there'd still be a lot of people like, I can't be fucked.
Yeah, it's not going to be a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Kieran, continue.
It's definitely a situation where Epic just nothing really went their way. Honestly, Apple gets paid its money. Does Apple actually care that it lost a small thing in terms of it? As you just said, there's still a decent chance that yes, they're going to take a hit to their bottom line, but how big of when you're earning so much fucking money, is it going to be a hit that's noticeable? Probably not. I don't know. I think this was definitely I think this has a fairly negative impact, right, on anything like this going further, because Epic
You don't think Epic's going to appeal or something?
Possibly. I think they most likely will do, whether that goes either way. But at the end of the day, it isn't necessarily the result for Epic that's the problem. It's now kind of set a precedent to people that, hey, if you want to stand up for something or fight against somebody's claims or their procedures, their guidelines, like a company like Apple, there's a decent chance that you're not going to win. And even if you get something that you want, you're still going to somehow lose. And I think that now puts off more people from wanting to take similar action in various different companies and organizations within this space.
See, the thing I took away is it kind of it shows that Apple was right in their main point, which is that Epic breached their contract, and that was their whole point. They're like, you breached the contract that you signed to put your game on our store and whatever else, so you owe us money, which they're now going to get paid back. Now, the thing that everyone likes to argue, and Epic's whole point of, well, we should be allowed to put alternate payment methods in and whatever else, that no one was really arguing against that either. Everyone was going like...
Epic's argument was the contract is stupid.
Yeah, but Epic should have, or if they really wanted to fight the fight, they should have tried to fight it without breaching their contract at the same time. They should have played ball, I guess. They should have played ball while trying to fight. I mean,
they should have pulled the game from the store
themselves and then started their fight. Yeah. And then, if they'd gone through this and come out the other end with the judge ruling that, yes, Apple should allow people to have their own payment methods, they would have won. But instead...
Yeah, because they would still have their developer account and all that stuff, you would assume.
Yeah. But they just did it, I think, in such a way that ultimately they come out the other end and it's going to turn out good for, I guess, other developers now. But if I hate to do pick a side that won. I mean, if I had to pick one, I would say that Apple's come out on on the better end than Epic.
Everything's come up Apple.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, although how many people who use Unreal Engine are going to get extra money now that will eventually filter into Epic anyway, so...
Yeah, I'm saying...
what if it's a subsidiary
if I had to pick a winner, if we're picking a winner, if you have to pick one, there's no draw.
Purely on numbers, it's Apple. They won on everything but 1 point.
Apple only had to make a small compromise. Really?
I mean, it could potentially be a big compromise.
Oh, it's pretty big
if
for
a lot
going
of places
forward.
No, but the thing is, right, it is worded in such a technical way that I feel like Apple have already got people working on ways to go around that.
I mean, it's if places like Netflix and that go, hey, we'll give you a slight discount for the first year if you change your payment method to being through this way. And then Apple is not getting that percentage that they were getting before. It's like, it all starts to add up, I would imagine.
So they say here in the article, there's like, Apple makes roughly $19 billion a year from apps. 6.3 billion of that in the US, where the ruling has legal weight. And it wouldn't take more than the loss of a few whales for Apple to notice a dent in that revenue, argues someone over at The Verge, though. So Epic isn't even bothered. They write here...
All these shitty, like, freeware games, they'll give you extra money if you extra coins or whatever if you go somewhere else.
Yeah. They have Jason Schreier's tweet here, which is actually probably the best view to take on it, I guess. He said on Twitter, so Epic lost them about every account and will have to pay millions, while Apple now has to let apps use external payment processors, potentially costing them billions. Big win for everyone who was rooting for both companies to lose, which I guess is
That's where you were at the start of this, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm happy with the way it turned out. I think it turned out the perfect way.
Yeah, it turned out the best way for everybody except the two people involved.
Yeah, it's great. I really don't think I really don't think you could have potentially got a better win for this. It's now better for developers on App Store because Epic kind of got what they wanted. But Epic, because they were being babies about it, have now had to pay the money back because as much as I'm like, fuck big corporations, I'm also like, you did do the wrong thing. And like, Apple does have a legal ground to say you breached the contract. Like, I totally get that. As much as I'm like, I get that. So the fact they have to pay that back now while they got the win for the other developers that aren't them, I'm like, oh, it's kind of perfect. it's kind of just a perfect. Apple and Epic just fall down dead while the third man on the sides, like
Stephen Bradbury comes through.
Yeah, it's like the.
I don't think. Look, for a company like Apple, this really isn't that big of a deal. I think it's a bigger issue for Epic to have lost.
We'll see how big it is for Apple in like 12 months.
Apple.
I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see then how much their revenue.
Okay, we're putting out new iPhones every 3 days.
I cannot afford to upgrade that as someone who's addicted to upgrading iPhones. By the way, everyone got
upgrade is just a different color. That's it.
Hey. No, it's not. The new iPhone actually. The new iPhone, since this is
No. If they were release a new iPhone every 3 days, it would just be a different color. Like,
I don't want to hear anyone's bullshit on this podcast or in the comment section that, other phones have had it for a while. I'm well aware. But the new iPhones are actually getting higher refresh rates, which is good for gaming on iPhones now. So it's good. That's my one thing for the new iPhone.
And they just got picture-in-picture for their YouTube. Everything's coming up Apple.
I don't think that's still a thing. I think that's still YouTube because they refuse to add it because they want you still to pay for premium or whatever.
Well, no, it's just been released or announced in the recent update. Yeah. No, you can do picture.
One app that still just wouldn't let you do it. I was like, fuck this shit. All right, what have we got? One story left. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's get to the end. I left this one at the end because I thought it was quite just funny. I didn't want to end on fucking Apple vs Epic talk. So Deltarune Chapter 2 has officially launched now after literally being announced like within 48 hours. And I love everything about this because there's such like sort of Toby Fox energy for how they just sort of market it. And the fact that they can literally tweet out. So there was an Undertale 6th anniversary stream. They're like, hey, Deltarune Chapter 2 coming in like a couple days or whatever. They put up a website of a countdown. It was like, X amount of hours. So that's why it was only a couple days. I just had it open on my PC in the lead up. So every now and then I just check it, see if anything crazy happened. It was just a timer. Although when it reached 000, it changed to now refresh or whatever. It's like, ooh. The funniest thing about this to me is that it's just such a small random indie game and it's free. So after originally, when the first one released, Chapter 1, which I think I would have talked about on here when I played it, because I did play Chapter 1 when it released. when that released, it was free, and then it was like in the original post, it was, future chapters will cost money. Apparently not, because chapter 2 is now being released, and that's free as well. And now it's chapters 3 to 5 will cost money. So apparently this is now going to be a 5-chapter affair. Whether or not chapters 3 to 5 are being released separately, or they're simply going to wait until they're all together and then just charge you for the last 3 chapters in one go, don't really know. Who knows when the fuck they're even going to come out. Toby Fox and everyone else who works on these games doesn't really ever update about the development process or how long these games are along. They simply just appear out of nowhere. Like the first part, literally just when it was announced, it was like Deltarune. They put up that really weird trailer, and then the game dropped, and everyone was like, is this Undertale 2? And then you didn't even know what it was called, and yet everyone was playing it. And obviously if you've never played Undertale, I mean, go play Undertale. It's like nothing else, I guess. But the fact that franchise has such a sort of hardcore following, and it's sort of picked up over recent years because that game became more available on more platforms, and then Deltarune was, it's free so people can play it and whatever else. But it broke itch, which I thought was quite funny. So they posted, Deltarune's now available on itch. It was on Steam as well. But then later, itch tweeted out in their official post, yes, Deltarune has crashed our site. We are working on it. I've never seen itch crash or anything. So that was quite funny. So yeah, I'm keen to play it, or chapter 2. I don't know if I still have my save. I know you can transfer your save over or whatever, because of course part 1 ended on a cliffhanger. Or the cliffhanger was sort of like confirming that it was part of the original Undertale universe, and now they officially call it a Undertale parallel storyline. So you do run into similar characters and this sort of thing for the people that care. But yeah, it's the same sort of thing. RPG where you can choose to fight people with words or fight them properly, or everyone's sad and you want to help be friends with everyone, and it's got a really great soundtrack, and Lena Raine does some work on a couple of the songs when I was looking for it. So that's cool. No one else here plays this, do they? No. Or doesn't care?
No,
but I appreciate the gesture. I don't know if you read like the status update or letter he wrote out, pretty much saying, "Hi everyone, the world has been really tough for everyone recently, so I decided to release Deltarune Chapter 2 for free.
Oh, that's why
I guess like a pet cat that drops bugs on your doorstep. I can, with some pride, show you the weird things I've been doing. I'm not sure if it'll help, but I hope so. So just one request, please remember games like this aren't normally free. If you can afford it, spend the money you save from getting the game for free by supporting other indie devs, and if you really want to give me money, buy the soundtrack from Bandcamp. Thanks."
I saw the original tweet where he's like, the game's free, here's the soundtrack if you'd like to support the game. Buy it, please, or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I look at Twitter now at time of recording, and Toby Fox is trending, so...
The franchise has a massive... I remember when I was watching the Undertale, I watched this...
I mean, he's kind of in Smash, so...
Yeah. I remember when I watched the Undertale music stream, I think it was last year for the 5th anniversary. I think that was last year. I was watching that live, and there was like so many people watching it for indie game getting like a live orchestra stream. It was just so weird, and like the audience and everything like that. It's like, it really is. It feels weird to say cult because it makes it sound like small or whatever, but there's like a real dedicated, committed fan base.
It's like a evangelical church with.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not there because I only played Undertale on when it released on Vita. When maybe 2017, I think it was like the same year we started Exposure Network, probably. So I think it was that year.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, because I talked about it on Plat. So that was when I played Undertale, and then I played Deltarune and whatever. So I'm definitely like people out there like dive into all the characters and have all these deep lore or whatever else. I just sort of appreciate it and I find the game fun, and the music's really fucking good. Like the soundtrack is the soundtrack for the first Undertale. I was on like repeat. There's a remix album I was fucking addicted to that year after playing the game. I could not stop listening to it. It's so fucking good. But yeah, I'm keen to play this. Hopefully, I don't know how long it is. I didn't want to look up spoilers either. I didn't want to like Google it, see how long it is, and then some motherfuckers like spoiling shit for me. So because even though I'm not a hardcore person or whatever, I'm still just like, I don't want spoilers either way. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what we've been playing. 2 games. Let's start with one I've played a little bit of. So I've been playing a little bit of WarioWare Wah! Wah! It's so fun just to do, to be honest. WarioWare, get it together. So, of course, this is the latest WarioWare game where you just, it's just a bunch of fucking mini games and it's just sort of Wario's franchise. It's so weird. I've only ever played these. I've never owned one. Like, I've only ever played them on other people's consoles or whatever else. So playing one by myself is sort of like, I was wondering if it would be fun, but it weirdly is because you can sort of just play it it's like the perfect, you can just play it for 15 minutes and finish a level or fail a level or, or whatever, or go for a high score. And, Ashley's playing this video currently. You can just go for it and have a time. It's like sort of perfect. So I guess for people who don't know what a WarioWare game is, or specifically what this one is, it's like you load into a level, and there'll be a boss at the end of sort of like 15 mini games basically. And the big thing for this one compared to the others is there are other characters, and each of the characters, and you unlock more as you play through the story mode, and each of them have their own abilities or certain little things. So Wario himself sort of just has a bash attack or whatever, so he can like sort of punch his way into enemies or whatever else, or punch objects, which is important. Other characters like who's on the Mona, she like floats around on a jetpack little scooter bike thing, but like consistently, like you can't stop. Like she's always moving, so you always got to be making sure she's where you want her. But then she can also throw like a boomerang. And then every character sort of has their own shtick. And then you'll load into a mini game. And the really cool thing about this one is it tells you the second before you load in what's got to do. So like, let's say you load into a mini game, and by mini game I mean they're all like 2 to 5 second mini games. But let's say you load into one and it's like, it'll say escape, and you'll hear escape, and it's Wario and he's in like a paper bag or whatever. So you hear escape, you see a paper bag, he's in it. So it's like, okay, I've got to punch my way out. So that's like very simplistic or whatever. Other ones, it may be like you have to quickly like turn pipes around to get them to all connect correctly so water can flow. Other times it'll be like clean a room and you have to quickly find the things that you have to like throw out or whatever. Like they're all just like quick and simple. And then you get to a boss stage and they're usually a little bit more involved. Of the couple I've done so far, like what was one of? Oh, one of them was like you had to. It was like a matching game sort of thing where you had like a time limit and you had to like put the right objects in a shopping cart and then deliver them correctly. And each stage you have like. Well, for the whole run, you have like 3 or 4 lives, I think it is. So if you fail a mini game, you lose life. You go back in, you fail, keep going or whatever else. And then as you unlock more characters, you can choose to just sort of stick with the ones you find easiest to play their mini games the easiest, and you can pick them. Or you can just sort of go auto select and constantly be trying out different people. But then because this game has like new characters you pick up along the adventure and you play as, there's always that sort of thing as if you haven't played as a character before, you're playing as a whole bunch of new mini games that are designed around that character's mechanics. So it's a little bit different than if you were just playing the entire game as the same 3 characters, and you'd sort of get an understanding of how their mini games play because you'd know they're simple, because all of them have one sort of key ability that their mini games are designed around, I guess. But I'm enjoying it. I'm finding it fun just to play for the short little burst so far. And I'll kind of keep playing it that way until because I presume story mode's probably not that long. It'd be keen to play multiplayer, but it doesn't have online multiplayer. So that's sort of a, bummer.
Thanks,
Nintendo.
Speaking of Nintendo, how can we not talk about the
that's
massive
fucking
Nintendo
true.
story that came
That's
out?
true. I don't know. I just forgot to add it in, I guess. But yeah, let's talk about it real quick because I did do that with this game, in fact. So in case you missed this, Nintendo this week went, "Aye, Bob, did you turn Bluetooth on the Switch when we released it?" Fuck, nah, I forgot. Oh, do you want to like switch that on and force an update through? And fuck it, let's do it before the OLED model releases. Thanks, champ. So yeah, they flicked on Bluetooth support just with a random update. They're like, no, let's fucking do that, eh? We're for Bluetooth support here. We could have done it. Like, we don't need to add a Bluetooth. Let's just fucking turn it on. Let's just turn it on.
Insane. It's so stupid.
It's not like they added something that was like, we'll just fucking make it work now, don't we? Just fucking it. Like, we could have had this since day one. Like, there is literally no version of this story in which anyone should be like, good job, Nintendo. Thanks for that, Nintendo. Good job. No, the only version of this talking about this that's okay is why? Why did you wait? Why now?
How many people have bought Bluetooth adapters?
How many Nintendo programmers does it take to remember to turn on Bluetooth for the console? Yeah, and the other thing that confuses me is I don't recall, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't pay that much attention, I guess, to Nintendo accessories, but has Nintendo ever like pushed a super exclusive like headset or anything with an adapter? No, it's always like third-party things that people are getting to work. Yeah. So why the fuck didn't they just have this available from the start? I don't know. Anyway, yes, they now have Bluetooth. It's super easy to set up. You simply, like any other Bluetooth device, you hook it up. Yes, it works when you're playing handheld. Yes, it works when you have your Switch docked. The only negative is if you have a Bluetooth headset connected, you can't have any more than 2 Joy-Cons working wirelessly, which means that you can't play like, I guess, for like using 4 Joy-Cons as 4 remotes plus a headset, which I don't think you would be ever.
Why? That would be the weirdest situation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, I'm going to listen to the game.
Yeah.
You 3 guys, you can
just,
you can play.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be something that happens, but I was like, just so everyone's aware of what the one limitation puts on, that is the limitation, and you can't use any more Joy-Cons. But, yep, so that's a thing that happens now. Very good. It was part of an update they forced out. The other thing is, I don't know what this will mean for the future, but in the same update, it does say that you can now update the dock, but apparently it's only for the OLED dock, not the current dock. So apparently the OLED dock is going to be able to be updated in some fashion. So I don't know. Read into that as you will. I don't know what that means really, but there you go. OLED's out in what are we up to? Like 2-3 weeks? Comes out I think the 8th. What are we on now? So let's say this comes out Monday, so OLED's out in like 2 weeks. Yeah, OLED's out in 2 weeks. I will be getting one, so you'll be hearing my thoughts, of course. Everyone, good job. Kieran, do you have? It looks like you're fucking just.
No, it's just amusing. It is such a Nintendo story. Next minute, you're going to be putting up cardboard tracks and racing around a go-kart with a GoPro strapped to it and pretending.
The best thing now is I can listen to I can put headphones on and play it and listen to the music in the game at the same time.
Technically, you could put headphones on. You just couldn't put wireless headphones on. You could have just wired them up.
Come on now. What am I, a fucking
heathen?
That's actually surprising. I thought you would have like I thought you'd have some random like old wireless headphones.
No, I've definitely I've used wired headphones on my Switch before. I'm fucking playing rides and shit. Of course I have. Come on now. But no, I've definitely appreciated having Bluetooth headset, being able to Bluetooth now. It kind of means that I'm like, cool. Do I have like a Bluetooth one lying around I could just dedicate for that in the future? Or because the only annoying thing I noticed is like I did get my AirPods hooked up to it, right? I paired them with it. However, unlike if I have it paired with like my iPad and my phone or whatever, and it automatically switches back and forth. As soon as I paired it with the Switch, that was it. Like I had to then unpair it and then repair it with the phone, and it didn't automatically switch back and forth. So I'm like, this isn't a thing. I'm switching it back to just being paired with my phone because that's where I use it most of the time, obviously. So anyway, that's the Bluetooth thing. Let's get into
good times.
Yeah, good times. Let's get into the last thing that's. I think we've all played a little bit. I think you was playing this today, weren't you, Ash? I saw it. Maybe no. Am I fucking?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good. All right, so Deathloop. Kieran's reviewing it, so he can start. But all of us have played a little bit of this one. So Deathloop, of course, is a game you've seen a million trailers of. Is it good, Kieran?
It's much better than the trailers would lead to believe. I will go out on a limb and say the trailers did a terrible job of explaining what the fuck this game was and what the gameplay style really is for this game. Yes, it is your traditional Arcane Studios game where you are first-person stealthing or shooting your way through the areas. You get your teleport in, you get your some kind of hacking ability, you get the guns, you get the stabby
linking
things.
People together. Yeah.
Linking people together and all kinds of stuff. You've got all those classics. What they haven't told you is Deathloop is it is in a time stream type of thing where the same day replays over and over again. And you have one day to kill all, I think it's 8 or 9 visionaries. What it never explained is that Deathloop operates on a day cycle that is split up into 4 different sections: your morning, your afternoon, your evening, and your nighttime. And then once you get the end of the nighttime, the day restarts. You lose all the weapons that you haven't found a way to keep. And you start the game again. Everybody respawns that you've killed for the day, and you start again and you try and find a new way. Throughout the time in the game, you get to pick up lots of information, as it keeps trying to remind you that information is key in Deathloop. That listening to bad guys, reading different bits and pieces will give you information based on the areas at certain times of the day, and then there's different objectives that can be completed in an area depending on what time of day it is. I think overall it's a fantastic game, and largely a lot of people are having this kind of agreeing with this. It is very much your 9+ kind of review score game, if you want to say so. But I guess for me, my only downsides for it is I think so far the AI is very abusable and kind of not as intuitive as I would hope it to be in such a game. Killing somebody who stood right next to somebody else doesn't immediately alert them to your presence. It just kind of, sometimes they just ignore the fact the person next to them died, or they just kind of blankly stare at you from a distance. But it still has that kind of interesting nature and freedom of play that comes with any Arcane Studios game. So, look, you play this game and there is very much the feel of Dishonored in this game. I think the aesthetic and the style and the characters are really interesting, and the story itself is quite interesting to dive into the mystery that is Colt and the world around him. I think it's a great game, and it's definitely enjoyable to play and fun to play. It just has those few kind of spotty AI bugs, and I don't know if I haven't heard anybody else say this, but I've had some really bad freezing issues so far, where the game kind of freezes for like 5 to 10 seconds and then eventually catches up with itself and restarts again. But other than that,
I reckon, since it's a Bethesda game and they only gave us a review code on launch day, you should probably wait before marking it down for that.
That's fine. We're not on Metacritic, so do whatever you feel right.
Yes, very much so. But how are you boys feeling about that and what you played of it?
You go, Ash. Was playing it today.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's like, I know I've got other stuff to do and other stuff to watch, but like I keep coming back to it. Like, I'll just do one more section of the day. Just run around, find some information, get some rare whatever the currency is, and murder a visionary, hopefully.
Were you about to say like raritanium or something like that? It's residuum is the
residuum, that's the word.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it so much. It's like, this isn't really usually my sort of thing. Like, the stealth element is like kind of freak. Like, at the start, there was an element of anxiety about like, am I going to be caught? And like, but as you go along and you get stronger and you get all these cool abilities and these wacky weapons, to a certain degree, you feel more powerful. And it's like, some fights you're like, I'll just pick everybody off one by one, and then other times you'll be comfortable enough to go, no, I'll just chuck a grenade in and then take everybody else out.
I feel like they remove that. I feel like they remove that anxiety fairly quickly with two implementations. I think for me personally, it was the first implementation was the staple gun or the nail gun that is completely silent and is like a 1-kill headshot if you get it. And then also for me, the moment you got the slab that meant that you could die 2 times before resetting fully, was like kind of the big game changer. And that happens extremely early in the game, really. Straight after the first section of the game, you get that perk. Yeah.
I've only played whatever I talked about in this week's episode, Platinum Explosion, everyone. So whatever I played prior to recording that, which was about, I don't know, an hour and a bit or whatever, I played the opening sort of few levels or whatever, up until you like sort of get told you can go try and kill the first like visionary, or what, like up until you get told visionary is a thing. But yeah, my main big takeaway that I discussed on that was that they sort of did a bad job at marketing this, because it's not a full-on roguelike. It is like you have levels, you have objectives, you do get constant checkpoints, the game does save when you go back, although it doesn't. I'm seeing people like, it doesn't save like if you're in the middle of a run, like that's the most roguelike element or whatever, but like you can just like bail out. It's not Returnal where you're like, you gotta do 3 fucking worlds in a row before the game will save. You're not going to get hard fucked there. But yeah, the game is literally like, it gives you objective markers. It tells you where to go. Like, I haven't done any exploring. All I played prior to recording Plight was I just went to wherever I needed to go. I got what I needed to do. It was like, you can explore now. You can go back. I'm like, cool. I'm just going to go back. Like, I'm just doing the story. I'm just following the, where it wants me to go. And that's how you can play the game. Like, you don't need to freak out and be like, oh, I hate roguelikes. They're scary. I think this is really roguelike at all.
I think as well, the moment you get back in, because like it's any weapons that you bring back with you to the spawn area or like the hub area, you kind of bank those weapons or save those weapons. So it's like,
well, you can.
The moment you've done that, you're good.
Yeah, once you open up the raritanium thing like that, adds a whole new level to the game, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I'm enjoying it. We're all enjoying it. Play more. Everyone's loving it. Yeah. It's got like 1,010,000.
How far in do you think you are, Kieran?
I've only just fully killed the first visionary and done like the first section after that.
Wow.
I've been fucking around and exploring a lot of the places.
Just trying to get as much information as possible.
Yeah, like there are a lot of random puzzles in the worlds that are more just based on trying to figure out either locate batteries or trying to figure out a pin code for a door. There was one that I spent a very long time just like trying to figure out where to get the rest of the code from. You can't always get everything in the one place. Okay. But also at the same time, there's like, the first open area, I kind of at one point went fuck it and kind of slaughtered my way through, learnt where all the extra guns are, learnt where like the rare guns are in the level. That kind of information, having that kind of background information for later runs, I think is going to be really rare and really helpful. I think the nice thing that makes it so different from being a roguelike is the fact that you don't have to start in the same place at the same time every day. And like, I'm sure by the end of the game, there's probably like a quote unquote most efficient run that is these people will all be in a position that you can get to throughout the entire day.
I think that's what the game is building to.
Yeah, like I think I said on Plat, I was like, I don't know if you've got more information than I do, but my instant takeaway was you're going to kill one visionary, and then you'll die, and then you'll go kill another visionary, and you'll die, and then by the time you reach the end of the game, once you have all the information, and you've killed every visionary at least once, the game's going to go kill them all in one run.
No, because I feel like
I think that's potentially correct.
Potentially,
but I think it's learning how to line them all up. It's like,
because I feel like there is like I don't think it's a huge spoiler, but when you go to kill the first visionary, there isn't just one of them.
Yeah,
and that is your first taste of like, this shit isn't as obvious as. But then also you get to the point of like, okay, also each visionary is connected to a different power that you could achieve by killing.
Yeah, but the thing I took away is that like, unlike the trailers where they were implying that it's up to the player to sort of figure out how to, from the get-go, figure out how to kill 8 in a row.
Yeah, no,
the game is more like a standard video game where you're trying to beat a boss and like it's like you hit a story point and a thing's happening and then you'll go do the next one and a thing happens there, I'm sure, and so on and so forth. But I do think eventually it'll lead to, for story reasons, try and do all of them in a row. However, I reckon by the time you reach that point with the powers and whatever else, and the game will just make it so. I reckon the game will just make it also, they'll like objectively point you where to go to a degree. I reckon by the end you're trying to kill all of them in a row. But until then, it's just like a normal video game. Beat the level, kill the person.
Yeah. So Kieran, you haven't got many of the slabs yet, right?
I've not got any of the slabs. I've been doing a lot of research into getting the right. I'm too much of a perfectionist with these games where I'm like, I like to stealth too much, or I like knowing too much, or I like learning the side things, or like I don't know.
Kieran, I've killed like 5.
Have you really?
Oh my god!
When did you start playing it?
I've just had. Maybe Ashley should be reviewing
like this Tuesday, but like no, because obviously I haven't gone as much exploring. I think it's just like each run, it's like, oh, there's a visionary.
There was after maybe the first or the first couple ones. I was like,
my first goal is like I want to get all the slabs. I want to have all the powers and then figure out which ones I like using.
You see, for me, I like collecting just all the. Yeah, I like collecting all the information. I like getting all the extra stuff. I like knowing that there's a random ledge on the edge of a cliff somewhere that has just a bunch of batteries. And once I found that, I had to work out where those batteries go.
Maybe they don't go anywhere. Maybe
Maybe
they're just random batteries.
Yeah, maybe they're just.
But there's got to be no. This game has too many puzzles. There's too many puzzles. There's one that's like a fireworks machine that has a whole bunch of cables linked to power sections, and I didn't know what the fuck that did. But as soon as I saw those cables, I'm like, oh well, I'm spending the next however long following these cables and destroying everything here. I don't know what it does, but it's going to do something, right? Like,
I presume it shuts off the fireworks because the game tells you that the fireworks go off at a certain time every night in that particular level, I think, right?
Possibly. Yeah, I just don't.
Or maybe.
Yeah, no, it's just a bunch of stuff that is. Yeah, I just it is the one thing is, even though I will say a minor point, I feel like the levels aren't actually that populated. Like, some of them probably more than others, but there's early in the game it insinuates that like getting caught is going to end up real bad because an alarm's going to go off and bring everyone.
No, the levels are small. It's good,
and it's good. No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's just at the same time, I think it's just
there's potentially
the need
like
for
20, 30. It just depends on what time of day as well as the other thing.
Just out of my curiosity, actually, are you playing in quote-unquote single-player mode, or have you dipped your toe into...
I've opened it to friends only.
Friends only? Okay, when I see you... No. When I see you on next, I'll jump in and I'll try and kill you and see how that goes.
Okay,
because,
cool.
Have you had anyone invade your game or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's only the first
had a Juliana attack me, but I took... couple shotguns. She came straight at me, couple shotguns.
And you ran away?
Yeah, I ran away and then shotgunned.
Right, so
no, I died and then came back and shotgunned her in the first couple of times.
You know what? I think the moment they take away the fact that dying isn't as punishing as you thought it would be, I think the game just becomes way easier.
You literally have like 3 lives.
Really.
It's fine.
Yeah, you get 3 lives. The moment you have 3 lives, I was like, oh, I can definitely make dumb decisions here.
If you kill her, like if you kill Visionary, you get those lives back.
Yeah, it resets her as well. I know if you kill Joanna, they reset the
reprise,
the deaths. Yeah,
they reset between areas as well. So if you leave somewhere in the morning and you go somewhere else,
same thing as same thing with ammo. Ammo resets between each each level, each area. Yeah. No, my when I go back to my hub, my like notes section is just chockers with shit. It's just like, hey, do this, or hey, there's a random message that plays over the speakers. Find out what's going on in each of the maps. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
See, I can't.
There's lots of mysteries and intrigue.
My favorite thing about this game is I was like so scared it was going to be such huge, like big open world type thing. And then when the reviews start dropping and people are like tweeting out that they've beaten it in like 10 hours or whatever, I was like, fucking hell. Yeah, boy. And then I've seen the Platts put out like 20 to 25 hours on whatever else. So I'm like, whew. Thank God this isn't like 100-hour fucking massive thing I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because then I can chill. Because I do like playing it, but it's not at the top of my list currently because I've just got other things I need to do. But like I like that I don't need to be scared like, oh, if I don't play it now, I won't be able to finish it ever. I'm like, yes, apparently it's not that long, so it should be good. Just dig in there. Get it done.
Lots of cool level designs, like pretty random stuff.
I like the aesthetic overall. Like it is very classic Arcane Studios aesthetic to have this kind of dated but also futuristic like style to them in many ways. Like there's like it's very, I guess you can't describe it as steampunk anymore, but as Dishonored would be. But it's
kind of future
very
retro.
much reminds. Yes, future retro. Like it reminds me of like the Alien aesthetic. Of like kind of having that futuristicness be grounded in the world of the retro 80s and 90s. So, I really like it. And I like the narrative. I actually really like Colt. It's normal for these games to have a bland protagonist, and I think Arcane has suffered a little bit. I think Corvo got a lot better in the second game. Corvo was kind of bland for much of the original Dishonored. But no, I really like Colt. I really like Joanna. I really like their interactions you see throughout the game. I like what they do with time in this game a lot, which is, it's weird considering this game was openly sold as a time loop game that I was I wasn't excited about the timeline and how that would actually interface with the game itself.
I give him a hot take thing I don't actually like. Like the voice acting, like the characters talking backwards and forwards with one another. Don't like the pop-up consciousness text. I actually kind of find it, I don't know if it's just the way it's stylized or something, that I just kind of find it annoying after a while. Like there's too much. I don't know if it like dies down eventually, but I feel like
it dies down the later you get into the game, and it's only really used to like provide information as if to be like, there's a lot of them that are in no kind of straightforward terms are like, come back at a different time to this.
I at least felt in the opening act of the game, it was just like a lot. And
in the opening act, there's definitely a lot, but I think like that's just because it feels the need to
it's trying to
to hold your hand, and it's almost like the inner monologue of Colt trying to bring back a lot of his memories and bring back a lot of kind of circumstances.
You can also walk into like where his apartment is at the opening of the game, and you have see like 3-4 different versions of text on the screen that's like, which way? I don't know, like where's my house? Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, like everything else in the whole fucking area is brown, and the one window you can enter through has got like yellow paint around it. I'm like, I get it. Like it's there. Like it's Mirror's Edge. I've got it. Like it's go through where they put the paints around it.
That's not
I think it's definitely heaviest at the start of the game, or when you start a new level. Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. We'll talk more about Deathloop, I guess, in the future when we're wrapping up some more and some of the other games or whatever else. Let's know any of your thoughts on Deathloop or anything else discussed, of course. Head on over to our Twitters, explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Head on over to our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. Head on over to explosionnetwork.com to read all the reviews I've mentioned. Do that. And any future stuff posted in the comment. And if you like this episode and thought it was worth $1 and you'd like to support us, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support. You can buy us a coffee over there. Give you some reminders to do stuff. Be like, hey, set up subscription, do all these things. I don't know. Until next week, same time, same couch. Bye. Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.